Hello and welcome back to the Evolution of Medicine video newscast. It is January the 9th, 2016, and we are back with another very exciting week of news. I am here back again with my partner at the Evolution of Medicine, Gabe Hoffman. Welcome, Gabe.
Hey, James. What's happening?
We are grateful to Holistic Nutrition Lab for being this week's sponsor. If you watch the Functional Forum, we've had Andrea Nakayama on a number of times last June and in December. She's an incredible educator. This month, she is launching her Digestive Intensive program and has a lot of great content for health professionals in January. So please click on goevomed.com/HNL and you can check out all the things that they're doing this month. So let's jump into the news, Gabe. The first thing that we were going to look at is actually some real news. If those of you who don't know, I just moved to California, and so I was a bit alarmed to see that doctors are sounding alarm as the state of emergency is declared over a California gas leak. Now, some people seem to have heard about this, some people not, but apparently, and I'll quote, "This is the equivalent of the BP oil spill on land in a populated community. It's happening right now in the Los Angeles area, which is where I live, and they've said that they have had health risks from as far and in all these different areas, people being affected." And I love this quote from Erin Brockovich. I'm sure we all remember that film. No one really knows the long-term side effects of benzene and radon, the carcinogens that are commonly found in natural gas. So, Gabe, were you aware of this story?
No, I mean, I hadn't heard anything about it, and it is. It seems, it's interesting. A couple of weeks ago, we learned about Flint, Michigan, and how they basically finally admitted that there's lead affecting your children's behavior in this town. And I don't know if you saw, James, but Michael Moore was calling for the arrest of the government officials there as a result, because that's his hometown. But anyway, so it just seems like we're starting to get at least some information. At least we're finding it. I guess we're the ones looking for news. But the truth is, I haven't heard about this in any major news platform. And it sounds like an enormous issue. To say that it's like the oil spill on land is, I don't know if you could say anything more intense than that.
Well, yeah, California Governor Jerry Brown has finally declared a state of emergency on Wednesday. So that was Wednesday of this week concerning this currently unstoppable methane gas leak that's in Aliso Canyon and a nightmare of residents for the people of Porter Ranch. So it's a pretty serious situation. If you're like Gabe and I, you probably didn't know about this. I've just been a little bit on social media, but nothing on the mainstream news. So this is some real news, and this is a health issue. We all know what happened with BP oil spill and all the Corexit and all the junk they put on there. My friends who live on the the Gulf side of Florida, there's still some crazy things happening on those beaches. So it's a toxic world, and I think we're just here to not cause alarm. Don't worry, I'm not leaving LA. I'm not moving back to New York, but this is a serious issue, and we think more people should know about it. So that's the first story. Yeah. Anything else you want to
see? Toxicity. Well, just, we're seeing toxicity in the news as a health, as a health issue. And, it has never, we haven't seen it as much in the past. And, if you're on Facebook now, you see all the stuff about Monsanto and GMOs. So people are starting to understand a little bit more that toxicity plays a role in it. And it's not just, we had a great talk 2 years ago almost at the July forum that we did in Colorado, where we were talking about toxicity and just the idea that if it doesn't kill you, it's not toxic. That's sort of been the belief. Meanwhile, these things are constantly accumulating in our tissues. So it's really important that we get more and more opportunities for people to be exposed to this. And maybe this is another opportunity for people to realize that, look, there's toxicity. We don't know what the effects are, and it's accumulating in yours and your family's bodies in various different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's becoming more and more clear, and I think that's a good thing in the long term for our type of medicine, because it's always honored toxicity as a crucial role of keeping people healthy, and it's been much maligned, that view, by mainstream medicine. So you're going to have a lot more people who are going to be aware of it. The next thing I want to look at, and this came from Fox News Health, and this was sent to us by one of our listeners, and thank you so much to everyone who's contributing and sending information to us. This was on Fox News, and it says, patients leaving hospitals don't understand care plans. Many patients leaving the hospital don't understand follow-up care plans because the instructions are tailored to people with higher reading levels and more education. The American Medical Association already recommends that written health information be targeted to a 6th grade audience because nearly half of US population is only marginally or functionally literate. So this is a, kind of a crazy story in a certain way. But Gabe, I just wanted to throw this out to you because on one hand, we have a situation where, in root cause resolution, functional integrated medicine, practitioners have to understand the care plan because they're a participant in the care. So that's a big piece. We have to get this right. And two, I know that you've had firsthand experience of going to integrative doctors and this being a very specific issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So that, we've done a series of podcasts called The Evolution of Patient Compliance. And patient compliance, like we've said, is about patient empowerment, and it's about speaking a language that everyone can understand. And, so the practitioner, of course, understands it, but if the patient doesn't understand what's going on when they leave your office, we haven't done our job. And that is where everything happens. It happens outside of the office. So, I've been in situations where I've been in other, in functional doctors or other practitioners' places, and with family members, and we've had some very long sessions with that doctor where at the end they're handing a list of instructions, and I can see the people in my family are half asleep. And there's no way that they left capable, from what I could see, of executing that plan. And I found it frustrating. And that's just to say that this is not just a problem for mainstream or conventional medicine. The point is, this is something we all have to be aware of and address. And that if you want to get results, it's not just about having the right answers. It's about understanding how to communicate them and understanding if the patient, if they're guessing you or if they really do understand. Because if they get home and they don't know how to run this plan, we haven't helped them.
Yeah, and it's a much bigger issue in our medicine than in emergency medicine, because in emergency medicine, you're not really part of the problem, part of the solution. You really are there,
take this pill.
Yeah, exactly. And so in our medicine, we really have to get good at that. And I think this is good information, even though I would say on average, practitioners going to providers in our space are probably getting more actionable information and having a better experience. It's good to know that people need it at a 6th grade level.
Well, it's a great point. I mean, and can you imagine, and what you just said is so true. It's like, if you're at the hospital, they're probably sending you home with like, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. And they're not, and what was the percentage? Most of them don't understand what they're leaving with. And those instructions are pretty basic. If a functional medicine doctor put you on a diet and, 8 different supplements, and this is how you got to exercise, and this is what you got to do. I mean, well, I think we have to really be overly conscious of it in this part of medicine, because they're expected to do the heavy lifting, not the drug.
Absolutely. Yeah, key issue there. So another cool thing that was sent to us was believing Fitbit stats is dangerous to your health. And this is from a lawsuit actually from yesterday, from Friday. The smartwatch brand Fitbit has been hit with a class action suit filed by consumers who say that gadgets measures are wildly and dangerously far off. And according to the plaintiff, her Fitbit measured her heart rate at 82 beats per minute, where her personal trainer measured it at 160. So you can see that's kind of a bit of a difference there.
Well, I would say that if you're under the impression that your heart rate is 82 and it's actually at 160, you may have other problems going on.
Yeah, I agree.
You might be thinking, I would think I was having a heart attack if I was sitting down and that's what was happening. But the point is taken. I mean, these things are not perfectly accurate. If your Fitbit is basically giving your approval that this person is healthy and we don't have other ways. And it's, thing is, the Fitbit is going to become a part of, whether it's the Fitbit or the Apple Watch, it's a part of where medicine is. I mean, it's new data that we're going to integrate, that we're going to have to integrate into all the other data we have. But, many products, and this is helpful for patients to understand, and I don't know if they're listening to this show or not, but basically, like, don't think buying a Fitbit and then Googling is going to make you healthy. People have to understand that there's limitations of what they can do just with these measuring devices. There's a place for them. And it's probably our job to educate them on the limitations of these devices and then the ways to get the most out of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a great point. This is definitely part of medicine 2.0, but whether or not it's there right now or whether it's going to get there in the future, we still have to see. The last piece I want to look at, Gabe, is, this is from the Independent in the UK, health foods contributing to obesity crisis because we eat more, study finds. Researchers find that foods marketed healthy are ironically contributing to the obesity epidemic. Now, we'd have to look further into this, but I'm so aware of the way that food marketing is done, where if you have a box of cereal that is basically just like a grain, it'll say low in fat on the side of it because obviously it's a grain, and so they sort of market the healthy parts of it, or they'll say this is high in vitamin D3 where it's really mainly sugar, and those kind of things. But I think this is an important point because obviously there's a lot of healthy replacements for food now, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's really healthy.
Well, yeah, there's a few issues. I mean, one is when they're saying food is healthy, right? Are they talking about a box of cereal that's claiming that it's healthy and people are under the impression it's healthy, and then you're dealing with serving sizes and people, going like, well, if it's got vitamin D in it and I didn't go outside today, I should just eat a box of Lucky Charms or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, it's also could just be it doesn't have to be a boxed food. I think even when we see healthy foods and butter and these foods we're finding out are healthy, and eggs and things, I'm sure people can binge on anything. I know for me, my approach when I was 15 years ago learning about health was well, if 1 teaspoon of miso is good for you, then 3 tablespoons must be great for you, or whatever. And me and my dad would just eat as much of these things as possible, and that was probably not the approach. So yeah, having carte blanche to eat as much as you want because it's supposed to be healthy, I think it's lacking certain rules, overeating in general is a problem. So we know that, but it's not shocking that the population is going through something like this in this transition. And that's where the lifestyle coaching and the other aspects that functional medicine really brings to the table are so important, because it's not any one thing. It's not just eliminate chemicals and then eat. As long as you're eating these foods, eat whatever you want. It's getting in tune with your body and building a relationship with your body. You can sense if you're eating too much of something. You'll feel it.
Absolutely. And that brings us nicely back to, to our initial start here, Gabe, as our sponsor with Andrea's Digestive Intensive. I know you're a big fan of Andrea as an educator, but that's exactly what you're saying. I get the feeling from all Andrea's work and the way she's spoken about, it's really about having the right relationship with the patient, where you can get to root cause resolution, where there's the amount of safety that's created to be able to have these kind of discussions. And, it's cool for us to be able to feature to our practitioner community the kind of sponsors that, we're really in alignment with and can help to solve the problems that are in the news.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always love about Andrea's stuff is it's not just the clinical aspect, but it's that she really teaches and coaches how to work with the whole person and, lays it out for you what the structure of that can look like. And when we've had her speak on the show, they've always been some of the most popular talks. So, yeah, it's great. It's great to have them.
Well, absolutely. Thanks so much for being here with me again for another week of the news, Gabe. For those of you who are listening, if you want to send in news stories that you see, you can send them to news@GoEvoMed. We are going to be here every week bringing you the news that's relevant to health practitioners.
And let us know what you guys think, in the comments. I mean, I'd be interested to hear maybe some feedback from doctors whose patients have the Fitbit and kind of, or have some sort of measuring device, and how you guys are starting to integrate that in the practice. Is it working? Have you noticed that some of these are off balance and they're not giving the accurate information? I'd love to hear some stories like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so write some comments in the details below, whether you're getting this on your audio podcast or whether you're getting this on YouTube or on Facebook. It's been a pleasure to be back here with you. We will be back each and every Saturday this year with a roundup of the news. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, James Pascal, and we'll see you next time.